unregimented.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Yeah, this season I actually had little business cards made. Eric Rubino, Fantasy Baseball GM. You can keep that. Sure, the players are famous, but come game day, I decide their fate. What's that? Oh, you make $20 million? Well, I don't like your attitude. You benched! No, I'd never bench an all-star, but I could. That's also why I like Progressive's Name Your Price tool. With options based on my budget, they never throw me a curveball. That's a little baseball reference for you.
Get options based on your budget with Progressive, even if you're not a legend in your own mind. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Imagine the greatest collection of real-life entertainment on the planet, all in one place. Go ahead. Dare to stream with Discovery Plus. 55,000 episodes from networks like TLC, HGTV, Food Network, and more. If you can dream it, you can stream it. See what I did there? Discovery Plus. Stream now. Stream what you love.
Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthma Core Studios near Detroit, Michigan. It's unregimented.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
And now, here are your hosts.
All right, it's May 6th. I'm Chris.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Rich.
Oh, yeah. Don't even know where to start. I guess it's a good sign, right? That we're going, where do we start?
Where do you start? I mean,
yeah.
Trump visits the Honeywell factory where they make masks, and not even visiting the factory where they make the mask can he put a mask on.
Yeah.
That's how tied he is to the idea that this is all just a hoax.
Sometimes I feel like we've elected Homer Simpson as our president.
But you'd think you would at least get a shot of him like, oh, is this one of the masks that you make? And holding it up and like trying it on. You know, the normal shit that politicians do when they visit a factory.
Pretend to wear it, man.
Yeah, just put it on for a second so we would know what you would look like if you were sane.
Remember the phrase photo op? Take one.
Yeah, but that's the problem. That one picture, you get one picture now of Trump in a mask. It's now the only picture, and everyone's going to use that picture. And he doesn't want his voters seeing that
it's true.
He's caving.
His base calls him a cuck.
Yeah.
He's wearing a mask. God. Why do I hate that I always know the answer to the hypotheticals we ask each other. So yeah. When I saw that, I was like, not surprised. Scrolling on, like it's.
Well, you know, I'm gonna say this. I think most people try not to at least make a token attempt, at least, to go through life and not, stereotype everybody they see based on how they look. But I'm going to tell you something. There's a certain look to a certain type of person walking around without a mask talking shit right now. And that look usually drives a pickup truck, has a hat that has a brim that's damn near circular because they've bent it so much, and it's sitting on top of their fucking head, and there's something about water life or fishing on the sticker on their window of their truck. Now you tell me, you see that type of fucking shit rolling down the street. You thinking they're super uber progressive there, or they're probably a little more on the conservative side? Let's be honest here.
I gotta tell you, Rich, I think I have more respect for those people than I do certain others, and I'll tell you, because at least this person has a stance, right? This person's got an idea. They might be completely wrong. They might be an idiot, but they've got what they believe is a clear idea of what's going on, and they're taking action or lack of action in a way that they believe is appropriate. It's the people that really drive me nuts are the people who wear the mask, but then don't really wear the mask. Like, why?
The people we talked about yesterday.
Why go to? I went to the grocery store today, and there's people coming up near me while I'm checking out and talking to the guy who's checking me out. Not checking me out, but and they walk up. Two different ladies walked up to him and grabbed the front of their mask and pulled it forward so you could see their mouth to talk to him about, you got to punch out for your break.
What was the dipshit that was, what was it, Adam Carolla? that made the news where someone had cut a hole in their mask to make it easier to breathe?
I didn't see that one.
It's one of the podcasts I listened to, that was on the news somewhere. It wasn't a joke. Somebody had someone had videotaped somebody with their phone, like with the store they were in or something. They had cut a hole in the middle of their mask to make it easier to breathe.
I would doubt the veracity of that story, because there are masks that people have made with a clear panel in them that looks like you just cut a hole in the front of it for the purposes of
no.
People.
This is a homemade job.
Yeah, so is the one I'm talking about. They don't make these. People have had to make them. Those who have friends or relatives who are deaf and used to reading people's lips have made themselves masks with clear panels in the front so you can see the mouth.
The whole point of this story was this person did not have a clear panel on this mask. They cut a hole in their mask, and they thought to make it easier for them to breathe.
Yeah, I get it.
Well, I talked to someone that I see at least a couple times a week when I'm stopping off on the way home from work. And he's one of the few people that aren't wearing a mask. And I asked him, I said, what's the deal? You just think it's all a bunch of bullshit? And he goes, no, man, I got real bad asthma. I put one on and I started like hyperventilating. Felt like I couldn't breathe. I'm like, is this a common issue? I don't know. I don't have asthma and I don't really know any. Like, Aaron, you're probably the first person in my entire life that I've known as long as I have and as well as I do that's had asthma like you have, where you carry an inhaler.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody else has, like, oh, I got the most mild case of it, like in when I was younger. Is that something that you find yourself having problems with, like putting a mask on? Like,
no, I mean,
or do you think it's more anxiety on his part? It's
anxiety. It's psychosomatic. I know where he's coming from, because it's, I don't know. I mean, I can only imagine where he's coming from, because I don't know the person and I can't, I won't try and, I won't assume what he's thinking. But I understand the feeling of, just anything that's going to be restricting your breathing at all is hard to overcome when you're asthmatic. I get it. I mean, I've overcome it. I understand, like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. I don't want to get all into it. But, yeah.
Well, I mean, now that I have a homemade mask, it sits a little bit looser because it's just all around bigger than the medical mask. The medical mask is like tight against my face. And I gotta admit, that took some getting used to. So it just, it felt strange because, like, if you breathe through your mouth, you got a mouthful of fucking mask. If you breathe through your nose, it seals tight over your face. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, I don't think I've ever wore a medical mask before this shit. Closest I've come is like a full head mask at Halloween or something like that. And that's when I was a kid. And when you're a kid, you don't give a fuck. You want that candy. You'll go through hell for that candy as a kid. But yeah, I don't know. The one common thing I hear from people who are like, I'm not wearing a mask, it's all bullshit, blah, blah, is, it's my life, so what if I want to risk it? And it's like, dude, I'm totally with you, but that's not the case here at this point in this situation.
That's the thing, this isn't like an abortion, assholes. This can affect other people if you have it.
This isn't not wearing your seatbelt. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is...
If you get sick, you can get me sick. And I don't want to get sick.
People sick.
Asshole.
And like we talked about yesterday, man, the more and more tests they do, more and more they're finding people with antibodies that didn't even know they had it. So that means there's probably a lot more people walking around asymptomatic or just the most mild of mild symptoms than we even know about.
Right. I wish that testing was more readily available and was actually reliable, because I have a feeling that I got sick right before all this shit went down, and it wasn't that bad, but a lot of all the symptoms that I had line up. I didn't have all the symptoms of coronavirus, but all the symptoms that I had lined up with coronavirus. Of course, they also overlap with many other common illnesses.
It was flu season,
but
in February.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it could very well be that I had a mild case of this, and I've possibly built up an immunity. We don't know for sure that the presence of antibodies means that you have an immunity to it. We just know that from other similar diseases. So that's usually how it works, but we don't want to make any assumptions with this. Yeah, I mean, I could be freaking out over this I don't want to say for nothing, because I'd still be taking the same precautions because there's still people that I care about that are compromised. But it would make a big difference to my state of mind if I'm thinking right now, I could go into the hospital if I get this, so I don't want to leave the house until they have a vaccine in a year to 18 months, versus once the lockdown's lifted, I can go out and resume my normal life, because just knowing that I've had it once and have built up antibodies, even if that doesn't prevent me from getting it again, it makes me feel more comfortable about it. And I would assume that, maybe I'm wrong, but I would assume that even if you did get it again, that it would be no worse than the first time, probably even less so.
Well, I certainly hope that's the case. And to be brutally honest with you, I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time arguing with him about it. And I hope Earl is wrong. I hope that he didn't have it get better and then turn around and get it again. Because if that's the case, that makes this shit that much more scary.
Well, that's also that is an opposite to what a lot of people have been saying has been happening. Earl's story is counteractive to all the other accounts you've been reading.
What accounts, though? I haven't read. I mean, I've heard from Fauci and other doctors and scientists that this is how it usually works, but I haven't heard any actual accounts of.
Like the cases in China where the people have gotten reinfected have been like weeks later, not like a week later, as would be in this case.
Yeah,
to me, it sounds more like the shit went dormant. He never got fully better. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but just the time frame he gave, I would be more apt to think it went dormant. He didn't get fully better. He tried to go back to work too soon, but again, not a doctor, podcaster.
Yeah, he didn't get it again. He's just still symptomatic.
Yeah, because if you just follow the bouncing, what was it? April 6th was when he said, he was like the first day of his quarantine. Plus 14 is the 20th. Today is what, the 6th? So that means what, he was 7 days and then right back. So and again, podcaster, not doctor. But
it's possible. It's totally possible that he got it again, or a different version of it. I mean, there were stories today talking about how there's possibly a brand new mutation of this that could make this all worse.
See, the story I read was that it mutated like SARS did in the fact that it was weaker the second time around. But see, again, we're all still learning, right? Because you read this, I read that. This thing has existed since what, November-ish? Or I should say we've known about it since November?
I don't know. I don't know what you read, but I don't think that it would have said that it was a weaker version of it, because how would you know? It's still too soon to do wide enough testing to figure out if that's true or not. You might have some anecdotal stories about people still being symptomatic or maybe getting reinfected and it not being as bad.
Well, the last story I heard that from a credible source that was people working on this virus, basically they were talking about how big of a viral load certain people got, and that's maybe why they believe that's why some people don't get as sick as other people do. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I understand what they're saying, but so you get if you get a small viral load of the virus, you get mild symptoms, it goes away. All right, what happens if you get a massive viral load next time? You know what I'm saying? I mean, like there's.
Well, if it hasn't mutated in any way, then your body normally
would be fine.
You would produce antibodies, your body would know how to fight it, and you should be fine. You're right. But again, that's just based on past behavior, which is not, it does not tell you anything about future performance of this drug, or of this disease, because we don't know.
We're definitely
there's
playing,
many things that we don't know that
go.
will only come with time. So, yeah, I mean, there's plenty of stories that we're reading about how this, disease behaves, how it may mutate, how all of this is just conjecture.
Until there's proof to back it up. It's all rampant speculation. It's all thinking.
Well, it's not rampant speculation. People aren't just pulling things out of their asses. They're looking at models of diseases and other coronavirus types.
Still, I don't know. I just, the way I look at it, the way I handle it is we're learning as we go. We are literally stumbling around in the dark trying to find a fucking light switch in this fucking room. So we can get that eureka moment or whatever, or aha, okay, all right. Now we finally have a strong grip on what we're dealing with besides, it's bad news if you catch it. And, you could be asymptomatic or have mild symptoms, and that's really all we can tell you at this point. I mean, from everything I've heard, listening to NPR, reading reports from the World Health Organization, different news agencies around the globe, seems like this has lit a fire under almost everybody's ass to get to work to do something about this in every country that's capable of doing something, researching this virus. And if that's the case, that should tell you all you need to know. I mean, when's the last time? How long has cancer been around? Forever. You know what I'm saying? We don't have no cure for that shit. AIDS? You can live a long time with AIDS now. I ain't going to go the Earl route and say that you can be cured of it because, I don't hang at the barber shop and I'm not going to, sorry, I just don't believe he's cured.
Hasn't there always been with the tinfoil hat crowd with cancer that there's more money in the treatments than the cure?
The problem is that's not an inaccurate statement. I mean, if they could guarantee cure cancer, there'd be a lot of doctors and specialists out of fucking work. A lot. They'd have to change their specialization.
Yeah, oncology would be over.
Yeah.
The study of cancer.
And I mean, how devious and Machiavellian do you think the people that pull the strings behind the scenes in the medical, field are? Do you believe they do something like that? I mean, that's what it really comes down to. You're going to have to take anything you believe, whether you think they have a cure and they're not releasing it, or you think they don't have a cure because, we just ain't found one.
The error in your thinking is that there's a select group of people that are in charge of making these decisions. It's a long string of small decisions, all of which money is involved in. So everybody's making their own small decision about, we could support this, but this is already working and we're already invested in it. So why redirect our funds to the cure when we're doing really well in tackling the disease as it is, and it affects our bottom line? So everyone can make these decisions without any one person being evil or even ill-intended. They're just looking out for whatever, their family, their business, themselves.
That's just where you and I have a different outlook on the world. If you got a cure for cancer you're sitting on because you want to keep making money, you're pretty much, that's my definition of an evil
There's
thought.
not one person. If there was one person who in his home office made a cure for cancer and decided, nah. Yes, but that's not the reality of the situation.
Multiple corporations, whatever. Yeah, then they're pieces of shit. They're evil, in my opinion. But I'm not going to. Legally, there's nothing that can be done about it, though. So
but there's
it's all pissing in the wind.
Yeah, but there's this narrative of some guy sitting there stroking a cat up in an office or something like that.
Yeah, but let's be honest. If we're talking about conspiracy theory people, that's the type of shit they think of. They think it's one person.
The older I get, the more ludicrous this stuff is, because think about how many people you'd have to have in on it. Just think of that. how many lies you would have to tell. I mean, it's what Aaron says. It's a bunch of small decisions what is it? The sum is greater than the parts is what it ends up turning out to be. There isn't Mr. Big Pharma and he gets a check from all this. It's just all a bunch of money moving around, and it's just the motives behind it is where the conversations come in. Because this is an industry where that's supposed to be built on first do no harm. However, when it comes to the drugs,
Unregimented. ChristopherMedia.net.
What do you want to da-da-da? What do y'all want to da-da-da? I have no idea what to da-da-da. We could switch to Progressive da. Oh, yeah? We could switch to Progressive and sa. Okay. We could sa and have to buy some za. Oh, yeah. Let's switch to Progressive da and get some za with the money we saw. Yeah. Now we know we're gonna da-da-da.
These days, nothing is normal and everything is weird. But you could still save big when you switch to Progressive. It might just be the most normal thing you da-da-da.
Quote to da at Progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Imagine the greatest collection of real-life entertainment on the planet, all in one place. Go ahead. Dare to stream with Discovery Plus. Stream now. Stream what you love.
Progressive presents The Sounds of the Old World. The year is 2019, and someone is waiting for the previews to start in a movie theater.
Hey, you want anything? Popcorn? Soda? No, nothing?
This has been The Sounds of the Old World. Brought to you by Progressive, where drivers can still switch and save like it's 2019.
Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
ChristopherMedia.net. Unregimented.
Well, right. Just like in politics, and anytime there's money involved in it, it's going to corrupt the process. So as long as we have for-profit health insurance or a healthcare system, then the system will make sure that it will always be more profitable to treat the symptoms rather than find a cure for it. Now, that system is made up of people, just like every system is, but it's not individuals conspiring. It's just the majority of people making the wrong decision based on money, based on the short term instead of the long term. And if that's evil, then the whole country is evil.
Well, the other thing, too, is just there's always going to be the 10%. You could have a computer doing all this, doing all the decisions, making it. It's all based on math. It's all based on this. And there's always going to be the 10%, right? So would it really matter? Someone's always going to be upset with this. You could automate the decision-making process. And there would still be people that would have a problem with it.
I'm sorry, I don't follow any of that at all. Computers and the 10%?
Instead of humans being involved in this process, if you automate it, right, you set it all to algorithms making these decisions instead of humans, for these healthcare companies. There'll still be people that would have problems with the decisions being made. It's all based off, there's no humans in here, there's nothing's being done, it's all being done by, we're taking in data and the decision is strictly being made. They are data-driven decisions, no humans are involved. There would still be people that would have problems with the decisions made.
I got what you're saying.
Sure. So a possible solution might be to take the human element out of it if that's the corrupting factor in it.
Yes.
But you'd have to then develop AI, which is developed by humans, which are going to give it certain parameters. So either way you slice it,
the machines have they have to learn. That's the bottom line.
And they're going to learn from us because the only intelligence that we understand is our own. We don't even recognize it in other beings. So artificial intelligence is going to just mimic our intelligence and be just as smart and stupid as we are. So, if a human puts too much weight on the economic factors when considering decisions of humans' health and well-being, a computer is likely to make the same bad decisions.
Or worse,
yeah. Because then you're making these decisions without any functional sympathy or empathy.
But isn't that closer to nature?
So
that how nature does things?
Like we have, the healthcare system is corrupt, absolutely, just like the political system is, just like everything that money touches is corrupt. It's just going to be a question of degrees. But I just can't back you on this idea that there are people, like a group of people that are the corrupt ones, that are the bad actors in these organizations that are corrupting it. The corruption is human behavior.
That's what that's what I was saying. I'm just saying that even if you take that element out of it, people will still have a problem with it. I just think that's human nature. There will always be 10% of people who will complain. Even if
I don't know what that means.
If you take the corruptible element,
you're throwing these random numbers. What's 10%? You're never going to please everyone on any given issue. But what does 10% of people mean? Who are these 10%?
It's based on, like, there's always going to be one. If there's a group of 10 people, there's going to be one asshole. There's no scientific behind it. It's just based on living life. No election is won 100% to 0.
Right.
Well, wait a minute. Didn't Putin win 100% one time?
It's possible.
I'm not even joking. I seem to remember that since we've been on the air. They during one election, or it was something ridiculous. If it wasn't 100%, it was like 99%. We're like, really?
It was over 90%. Yeah.
Okay. You want to see if those results are tainted?
He announced him on horseback, shirtless.
Well, all this is, whatever. It is what it is. I guess the only situation I could see that would cause a fucking huge stink so far is if some small medical lab, through some pure act of fuckery, come up with a vaccine, and some Martin Shkreli type motherfucker was just like, yep, and we're going to charge people through the ass for it. And at that point, Jesus Christ, Trump's already stepped in and told companies in this country, you're making ventilators.
That won't happen.
Exactly. I imagine there would be a knock on his door, and then there'd be a gun leveled at him and say, hand the shit over. Sorry about your luck.
The whole world's economy rests on this vaccine. No, it's not going to happen that way.
What about my freedom? Yeah, well, the good of the many outweigh the good of the few, or the one. Later. Sorry about your shit, man. How you going to spend your money if there ain't no one to fucking buy shit because we're all dead, motherfucker? We're still locked in our house.
No, the person, whoever just come up with it, they'll be smart because you're about to have 7 billion customers.
Well, it's not going to be a person. It's going to be an organization, and it's going to involve people from all over the world.
That's why I said the situation leading to just one or a small group of people holding the keys to the castle is so fucking far-fetched and ridiculous. I don't think we're going to have to worry about that coming to pass. We have plenty of other more pressing, more serious concerns to worry about besides that. That's one of those, cross that bridge when and if we get to it. But once again, sorry, I can't underestimate human greed.
That's what I said it a few weeks ago. That's what I fully intend on driving the development of a vaccine, and I'm okay with that. Someone is sitting there rubbing their hands right now going, I can make a shit ton of money from finding a cure for this. And I'm okay with that. As long as you find a fucking vaccine, I don't give a shit. I don't care, all right? I don't care what your motives are. As long as you did it, as long as it works. It's probably going to be a popular opinion, but it's great. Whatever gets it developed. If Pfizer or Upjohn's got to make some more money, so be it. I would like to operate like we did in February again, please and thank you.
Yeah, but then you hear stuff from Big Gretch and a bunch of the other people, and the scientists and everything saying normal. We're gonna have to change our idea of what normal's going to be after this. It's going to be a while if we ever get back to the way shit used to be.
They come up with a vaccine. This will be. Remember that year we almost died. If they come up with it, because it's. We don't get the measles anymore. Well,
we almost got rid of the measles.
Yeah.
That was a long process. No, it's not going to be like a vaccine is developed and then we all put this in our rear view mirror. It might be as dangerous. Getting it down to levels of as dangerous as the common flu would be a success story.
Yeah, but we also have technology 100 years later than when we came up with the vaccine for the measles or the vaccine, or technology that's 70 years newer than when we came up with the vaccine for polio.
We can't cure the flu with our current technology.
No, but we have a flu shot.
Yeah, and we will have a coronavirus shot, and it'll probably have to be updated each year as the virus mutates.
Absolutely. There was someone was asking questions of someone from the Centers for Disease Control, and they were like, this might be a seasonal thing. This might turn into, we have flu season, we have corona season. The best you can do, get vaccinated and do what we were supposed to be doing anyways. You're supposed to wash your fucking hands, nasty motherfuckers. Makes me wonder how many motherfuckers walking around wiping their ass and handling their junk, not even fucking, really? Not even gonna stick them under hot water for a few seconds, huh? Okay, all right. I mean, and if that's the case, well, then we just gotta fucking learn to live with it, man. And you know what? As little faith as I have in humans on a lot of things, the one thing that we're really good at is like cockroaches. We want to survive as a species. Maybe not individuals, but as a species, yes. There's going to be people that will do what needs to be done to keep carrying on.
Will can only take you so. I bet the dinosaurs wanted to live, but at some point the environment goes, "I'm in charge at all times," and I will remind you of this.
Well, yeah, there's a huge difference, though. Tools, the brain power to develop tools to control your evolution and environment. So the environment, if we want to talk about it as a sentient thing, may push back, but we push right back against it as well. The environment says, hey, here's the disease to control the population. We're like, fuck that. We're going to kill the disease.
That's true. But then it goes, hey, here's a mutation.
Yeah, and it'll be a constant war.
And the game of ping pong ensues.
Well, it'll be no different than any of the number of things that have tried to kill us over the millions of years. And we'll just get it down to a low roar.
Knock it off, COVID. We got shit to do.
You know, how long have we had penicillin? People still die from getting infected wounds.
It's because the infections get bigger and better bigger and badder. They start becoming resistant to the shit that used to knock them out because we fucking use them way too much. I mean, that's kind of the problem, isn't it? Like we keep coming up with ways to combat shit, and it keeps coming back stronger and shifting and mutating to stay one step ahead. I mean, I don't know if this is accurate, but the way it was explained to me is flu season is basically they try to find what strain of flu it is as early as possible, come up with a vaccine, give it to you, and kind of hope they guessed right. Hope we got the right strain. Hope you don't get sick. Hope you don't get the flu.
Well, you're nearly correct except for the guessing part. It's not a guess. It's not 100% accurate because you can't predict the future, but it's not a guess. It's based on all the evidence they had at the moment that they went into production with that vaccine.
All I know is that if you think the lines were fucking long for some other shit, wait till a vaccine comes out. Be camping out like it's fucking episode 1 coming out all over again. Did you hear about those people that the state, I can't remember what state it was. It's one of the Midwest states. Apparently they opened up their, they call it the DMV. We call it the Secretary of State here in Michigan. And people were fucking camped out for 8 to 10 hours waiting to get in there.
To get into the DMV.
Yes. In their car, lined up, I guess, to renew their shit.
Yeah, man.
The state opened up and they were like, go get your shit. You got an X amount of time period for amnesty on your expired tags and registrations.
I have had all my shit expire. I've had my license has expired. Both my tags have expired. I have an appointment on May 29th. I could set one up, but it's closed.
That's if they open back up on May 29th.
Yeah. I mean, good
I
times.
mean, I can tell you for a fact they look the other way at the moment.
Oh, I know. It's Big Gretch. She signed something April 13th that says I have till June 30th to get it all taken care of.
There you go.
But
so
still,
there's no I don't know where you're seeing these lines, but I would think that they would set policy smartly enough so that they wouldn't go, oh, everyone's got a week. Everyone cram into your local DMV and let's get this done.
If he's talking about seeing lines, and this week it's somewhere down south, so it's one of those governors. It's one of those they took her jab governors. I think it's probably Missouri or Georgia. I think Arkansas tried to open up back open up this week too.
Salt Lake City was one of the places.
None of the states I mentioned.
And well, no, that's just the first one that I found. Like I said, I think it's the states that went into like not stay home, stay safe like us. Even though we, everybody. I'm still waiting to see these draconian jackbooted thugs wandering around, taking you at gunpoint back to your house. But whatever, that's what people are acting like we have. I think it's one of the states that weren't hit that bad, and they just kind of were like, social distance, and we're in 5 people, blah 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 blah, and then they just said, well, fuck it, we're not getting hit. Open a DMV. And I mean, as far as I've heard, I haven't really heard about the shit. Even now here in Michigan, we're just starting to hear about how the west side of the state is starting to get really hit with this. I mean, you think about it. You're telling me it took 2 months to move across to the west side of the state and start kicking their ass?
No.
I mean, but wait a minute. Wasn't that the point of what we're doing here? We're not going to stop it dead in its tracks, but to slow it to a crawl.
Well, some of the first cases were in Kent County. It's that Aaron, you live there. That part of the state's more spread out. In around here, southeast Michigan, we're all on top of each other. Out there, not so much.
Yeah, approximately 11 million people in this state, and 4 million of them are in the metro area.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not as bad as New York, but yeah, we're not exactly sitting on 20 acres between everybody and our neighbors.
And Michigan is one of those few states where you can start driving north, drive for like 6 hours, and still be in it. So there's a lot of Michigan, and it's spread out outside of Detroit. So. And too, with stuff like that, I also take into account, I don't think you have people out in those type of areas heading to the doctor as much, even if they do have symptoms. I think when they bring up states like Washington, like Arkansas, like Montana, like Wyoming, where they're like, oh, COVID never really showed up here. I think it's more like, more like you didn't report a lot of COVID because that's just how this state is.
Or you don't even know. I mean,
that's kind of
we're talking like we know. I mean, there's areas all over the country they're talking like they know how many coronavirus cases they have. When if we don't have the proper testing for any of this, then how the fuck can we know this? We only know the people who end up in hospitals or dead.
Well, first of all, there's over 44,000 people that have tested positive for it in the state of Michigan, and there's over 4,000 dead. That's what, 10% mortality rate? There better be a fuck ton more people with it who recovered that didn't know they had it.
There probably is. Yeah, absolutely.
No, hold on. Don't take it like I'm saying they're trying to keep it from us. What I'm saying is, if people think that's it, that there's only 44,000 cases in Michigan, that's it, you're fucking nuts. Yeah. We just within the last week got the ability to test more than 100,000 people a day in the state. Like, we haven't even had that for a full fucking 2 weeks yet. So 700. Let's say they tested 100,000 people for a week. 700,000 people. Okay, you got not even 1/4 of the Metro Detroit population tested. Yep. Wonderful. Now what? See, that's what I'm saying. Like the numbers. That's how come when people start talking about numbers and they start trying to get lost and they're throwing these numbers out and these numbers out. It's like, wait a minute, hold up, time out. You're sitting here acting as if these numbers are the final bottom line. This is the last number and update we're going to get. This is just a sliver of what we know. Mm-hmm. Well, how can we know anything else? We haven't tested anybody. We don't have the test.
Well,
we're still running into that problem.
India right now is getting tons of props, and I'm like, no, India has 1 billion people and a lot of rural area. No, I do not accept what India is telling you. It's just what we know about. It's what's being reported.
Wait, can you elaborate on this some? What are they getting props for?
That they have low numbers. As far as infections and deaths. They're being credited to. They've also done an extreme lockdown. But you're telling me this thing in this country, this thing seems to thrive where there's high population density. There's 1 billion people in India. And again, in a lot of rural area. Again, I bet you that it's not it's what we're being told. There's probably plenty we don't know.
Well, we don't know. You're right. We don't know. It could be that India, it has nothing to do with how they reacted to it. It could just be where they're located. That's a good possibility that the reason they don't have as many cases, maybe they
border China.
I'm with you.
They're next to China.
Right. I'm with you in a place with as much population density as India. It seems almost impossible that this would be the case. And there probably is, just like we have here in the U.S., a lot of unreported cases. Yeah. And probably a lot of fudging of the numbers because it benefits the state and they control all the information anyway.
I think the most diplomatic way I've heard it put is, I think the reporting mechanism is broken in India. With that high population density, I'm not buying your low numbers.
Unregimented. ChristopherMedia.net.
Progressive presents The Sounds of the Old World. The year is 2019, and someone is waiting for the previews to start in a movie theater.
Hey, you want anything? Popcorn? Soda? No, nothing?
This has been The Sounds of the Old World. Brought to you by Progressive, where drivers can still switch and save like it's 2019.
Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Maspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Maspeth, and always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
ChristopherMedia.net. Unregimented.
But there's still plenty of unknowns here, and environmental factors are one of them. They're looking at Florida. Why are we not seeing as many cases as we thought we would have seen in Florida, especially with them flaunting rules and going out to the beaches and everything? Maybe it's environmental. We don't know.
Well, I think there's also the fact that Scott or AJ's cousin is a nurse in Tampa, and I have family in Florida. And according to her, they're not testing down there. It's according to AJ's cousin, like I said, who's a nurse. They're not testing down there, right, like they are up here. And according to my family on the other side of the state, like kind of central on the East Coast, they're like, and that's Central Florida is the worst hit area in that state. They're like, I haven't heard about any testing. They haven't really said anything besides, what they say on the national news. If you think you're sick, contact your doctor, and he'll set up a test. Apparently, you can't turn on the radio, TV, go on the internet here in Michigan without, at least one commercial break, hearing something about, if you have this happening, contact your medical provider. Do not go in without contacting them first. You could get other people sick, that type of shit. Apparently Florida isn't pumping that type of stuff out. So if that's the case, might be another situation of a lot of people dying, a lot of people not being tested, so they're just going to write it down as other shit.
Yeah, they just have people on there rolling around with it and not caring, not knowing.
And let's be honest, Florida's been called God's waiting room my entire life. So a lot of old people down there, if they start dropping off,
Governor called it that the other day and you got shit for it?
What do you call it?
He said we're known as God's waiting room in a press conference.
Of course he did. Jesus. It's a love-hate relationship with that state for me. I swear to God. There's some really nice parts about Florida, and then there's some other shit. It's just like, really?
Dude, when I was a kid, it was like, yeah, Florida. Now that I'm an adult, I'm like, no, Florida. Like, what's funny is for my job search, that is the one state my wife has said no. She's like, I will move anywhere but that state. She apparently was offered some kind of crazy position where she would have made a fuck ton of money, and it was in Florida. She said no. Like this, apparently her and like, yeah, man, Florida, like it's, like I said, it's just Florida's seen their stock drop as I've gotten older, and I think this just, as a country, that's kind of how it's gone too. Like in the 80s, Florida was held maybe a little more of high esteem than it is now.
Well, yeah, man. You had Miami Vice. You had Scarface. People thought that shit was cool. Now what do you got? The Redneck Riviera and the Panhandle.
Florida man.
Northern Florida, which no one gives a fuck about. Central Florida, which is a tourist trap. And Southern Florida, which is ridiculously expensive for what you're getting to live down there. I'm sorry. Unless you like 104 degrees and 100% humidity every day, then it's perfect. Yeah.
Chase one gator off my property, and that's it for me. All right, we're moving north.
Yeah, that's no bullshit. That's just like the Florida. Driving south with my dad, first time to go pick up a load in southern Florida, and I see a Panther crossing sign, and I'm like, really? And he's like, oh, yeah.
What?
Oh, yeah.
What? It's not just a hockey team name? The Panthers live in Florida?
No. Yes, and they are fucking big fucks, and they are not scared of vehicles.
Panthers lived in, like, the jungle. I saw the Jungle Book. I thought Bagheera lived in the jungle.
No, never saw one in person, and I'm glad to say it.
Disney lied to me? They live in Florida? All right. What else we got, gentlemen? Let's talk about that kid. That kid in Utah. He stole a Lamborghini. Or no, he stole his parents' car to drive to California to buy a Lamborghini. And he had, by the way, I looked up the article. Apparently, when he was pulled over, he had $3 in his pocket to buy it. So, I mean, he was ready to do some wheeling and dealing when he got to the dealership. Obviously, he's never getting there because my guess is the gas runs out before you get to the state line. Because Salt Lake City's in like the upper northeast corner.
I don't think that was his biggest obstacle. It was how much he could fit in the tank. But yeah, that would be a factor.
Fair point.
Well, gas prices are way down.
How's that monkey going to fly over the Atlantic? He doesn't even have enough fuel.
You realize the last time I played my cat best of 7, I won 4-3 at chess. Barely won that game 7.
That little kid. Yeah, turns into that. What did he say? To go get my dead girlfriend's monkey.
First, did you guys see the video of this kid or the picture that they had of him with his face blurred out?
No.
I thought he was wearing like a fucked up mask.
I don't get how this kid's 5. First of all, the kid's fucking huge. And how the fuck does a 5-year-old drive a fucking car?
Video games? Remember that guy who stole the plane in Seattle?
You ever drove a Kia?
Video games don't even cover the pedals.
You ever drove a
Kia? Much less give you something to reach them.
You ever drove a Kia? They're really small. Maybe it was a Geo Metro. I don't know.
You know, we've already determined this kid was a go-getter. Maybe he was smart and he just figured it out.
Maybe he watched, what was Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom? He did what Short Round did. He put blocks on his shoes. He was able to drive. I mean, first of all, if you're 5 years old and you're determined enough to steal a car and try to drive to go to a dealership with $3 in your pocket, by the way, because you think you're going to talk him down to getting it for $3. Yeah, maybe he's smart enough to go on the internet and be like, how does a 5-year-old drive a car?
Right?
I'm sure 8chan has a sub forum about something like that.
No, really, all you really got to do is Google how to drive a car, right? And probably the Google card would come up to, there's an acceleration pedal and a brake. Like, dude, trust me, now my dad's dead. I Google shit all the time. There's no one to ask. I'm sure probably
here's what I want to know. Aren't Lamborghinis all sticks? How's he driving it back?
Okay. I'm going to play the part of Aaron here and go, I guess that probably wasn't his top concern.
Yeah, I guess. What was he? First of all, that's the most unbothered 5-year-old ever. He had no concerns if he pulled that shit and did it with a fucking smile on his face. Like I said when we were talking in the pre-show, this kid's either going to grow up to be a cop, a criminal, or a lawyer, or / politician. Lawyer and politician kind of go hand in hand. But I mean, come on, man. This is one cocksure kid for 5 years old.
I said it in the pre-chat, and I'll say it right now. This kid will be fine. If this is his kid at 5, this kid will be fine. He's already proven he's got smarts and drive, and then no pun intended on the drive.
Yes.
Motivation. How about that? You know, this kid's gonna be.
I respect his spirit, but that's about it. I'm not gonna no comment on his intelligence, and drive will get you someplace, not necessarily a good place. I think he's either going to be rich or in jail.
I'm just saying, no matter what this kid looks like, he's going to end up knocking the bottom out of some 10s. I'm just saying. This kid got...
Yeah, I can't get behind you on that either. I think he's going to take whatever he can get.
You think this little jaunt in this fucking stolen car gave him the juice to step to a fucking dime piece? He's like, hey, what's up, sweetheart? How you doing? I know I'm only 5, but I'm closer to that choke, so let me hit it.
No, his can-do attitude means he's going to fuck anything that moves. That's
what I'm saying.
I'm just saying, once he gets puberty, this kid's going to know what he wants. He's going to know how to go get it. I want that, and I'm getting it. Really? I stole my parents' car to go get a Lamborghini when I was 5. You're damn right I'm fucking Susie at the prom.
Well, he didn't get the Lamborghini.
Yet.
Dude, if somebody gives him a Lamborghini, I'm going to firebomb their house.
We live in a society that rewards idiots. Every time, there's always a GoFundMe for somebody, dude. There's going to be, someone's going to give this kid a Lamborghini. There's going to be GoFundMe for him to get a Lamborghini. Remember, there's no more shaming bad behavior anymore. It's just, they're just misunderstood.
CNN points out in their article, he had $3. The starting price for a new Lamborghini is around $200,000. Oh, so what are you saying, CNN, that this whole venture was poorly planned?
Yeah.
Is that your point? Is that your point? That he could have gotten away with this if he managed to pack $200,000 and thought ahead of the actual price of a Lamborghini.
Their new positioning statement
He'd be driving one right now.
Their new positioning statement is facts first, all right? They are not above calling out a 5-year-old. And all right? That's what they do now. They built they've built their positioning statement around a 5-year-old.
Yeah. Well, like we joke because this is a funny story and it's odd and this kid is a trip, but this could have so easily gone south. And don't you think the parents should be held responsible for this type of behavior? In Utah, this kid could have killed himself or somebody else. There was video. You saw the video of him. He was driving down the fucking freeway, swerving all over the place.
It's Utah. There's mountains everywhere, mountain roads. I mean, on the video that shows him like drifting into another car. The car's like, what the fuck, and just kind of takes a wide. Goes wide around him, and
can you imagine being like
at the worst drunk?
The fuck? And then you look over and see a 5-year-old with the finger right in the air, fucking driving past you, and you're like, "You little shit!
Fuck you, dude! I'm getting a guinea."
He's blasting Eminem.
He's playing I Just Don't Give a Fuck.
Look, first of all, the parents. What are they going to do with a 5-year-old? Even if it is Utah, they ain't throwing him in a fucking get your cheeks clapped fucking federal adult prison.
No, the kid shouldn't be punished. He's fucking 5. I'm saying the parents should.
First of all, the parents should be like, what the fuck are you doing to where a 5-year-old pulls out of your driveway with your car and you don't notice?
Well, apparently there's an older sibling that was watching him when he slipped away.
Ooh, that's the kid that needs her ass beat.
Like, no, I'm not talking about like the one mistake. Like you let your eyes off your kid and if this kid, there's other things going on here, right? Your average kid doesn't just decide to get in a car and drive it, much less all the way to California to buy a Lamborghini. This kid's got problems.
I'm going to say this. I'm just going to, I'm going to leave it very ambiguous, but I know some people who are parents who probably shouldn't be, and that great of parents. I don't think any of the people I know who I would say aren't that great of parents would be so preoccupied with something that their 5-year-old could get the car keys and get down the road without them fucking noticing. Like, seriously, at some point, someone's going to have to go, what the fuck is that child doing?
Paraphrasing my wife right now, just because you have a child doesn't mean you're automatically a great decision maker. You're right. How checked out do you have to be for your kid to steal a car and start driving to another state?
Yeah, it's not the checked out. It's not being checked out. You can't watch your kids 24/7.
When they're 5, when they're 5, you can.
No, you can't. No, at a certain point, you go in another room. At a certain point, you go, I got to get the fuck away from this kid. So the idea that this happened because they let they let a sibling watch him, or they weren't there at that moment when he decided to get in the car. No, I'm talking about behavioral. This kid obviously has never been told no about anything, and has no structure in his life to where he just thinks that this is normal.
Yeah. Like, see the age of these parents.
It's the upbringing. It's not that the kids were checked out for a day.
It's Amy Poehler and Mean Girls. I'm not a regular mom. I'm a cool mom.
It's everything they did in those 5 years up until that point. Every time that they failed to properly give that kid some structure in his life led up to this moment.
We don't like to use the word no because we feel that it sends a negative connotation to Jimmy. Yeah, it's in the word. It's called no. Yeah, I agree with you there, Aaron. This is a kid that just rolls around unchecked every day.
Is it wrong that I kind of want to see what the parents look like? Like, I know it shouldn't matter, but like, I get the feeling they're not the touchy-feely, we don't want to tell our little sweetness no type. I almost get the feeling they're more like the, drunk, front door wide open, passed out type.
Either way. Yeah, I mean, the end result is the same. You don't have structure for your kids. And
absolutely. No, I am not disagreeing with that whatsoever. It's just...
all roads lead to nice parents.
Yeah, pretty much, man. It's like, come on, dude. Really? Really? Like, some of the fuck-ups I know that managed to raise kids and they turned out as well as they did, like... wow, man. Wow, you really dropped the ball on this one, homeboy, but all right.
It looks better for your kid to get injured at this point than what happened. It looks better. It reflects better on you for your kid to get injured on your property than to have, like, dude, 3 stoners in 3 separate basements halfway across the country are talking about your kid's fuck up. You have fucked up.
So what'd Jimmy do during the lockdown? Well...
yeah, this is the equivalent to you've had a daughter and now we're watching her at a stripper club. This is the same. You have messed up somewhere. You have failed. Hey, at least I know at 5. But again, like, if this kid has no structure, I still think it's going to be all right. There's just a small part of me admires this kid. I don't know why.
Did you want to run away and buy a Lamborghini when you were a kid? Is that the deal?
No, it's because it's like, just part of me says this kid's going to be all right. That's why you'll be cool. Like, you didn't die. I don't know. I gotta get out of the house. We'll just bring it to that.
Yeah, I don't think that he's going to be all right. He has energy, right? He's got drive. But if that drive isn't focused towards anything, then he's just going to spin out of control until he ends up dead or in jail.
It's true. You'll end up like that firework that never leaves the ground and then just burns out.
Like a kid having drive with competent parents who know how to set up some structure in your life, then yeah, the sky's the limit. But drive alone or drive in the midst of chaos, you're not thinking that you want to drive in a certain direction. You're just like, I want to drive anywhere that's away from here.
Yeah, I think with the right parents, this story is we're talking about this kid finishing high school at 5.
At 5, well,
instead of stealing a car at 5.
That might be pushing it, but yeah.
Fucking Doogie Howser and shit.
So I think we've already answered the question. Criminal. This kid will be in juvie before middle school.
He's like performing surgery. He's like sutures, scalpel, binky. Binky? Yes, I need my binky right now. My hand's shaking, okay?
Yeah, and, hit me with a juice box while we're at it. Throat's a little dry.
Not the tropical punch, you whore.
And get the VeggieTales soundtrack on. Yeah,
a 5-year-old calling someone a whore is a good spot to end the show.
Sure.
Why not? Everybody, thanks for listening. Just remember the social media, @unregimentedpod on Twitter, @unregimented on Instagram. Email is unregimented@christophermedia.net. Please click the Amazon banner. That's how you can help us out. Doesn't cost you anything extra, and we get a couple bucks. Hey, have you guys heard anything? Is Amazon still making people pay for Prime right now? Because it's definitely the opposite of 2-day shipping at this point. Have you tried to order anything, Aaron?
I'm just happy that I can get stuff shipped.
Yeah. So I'm just not trying to talk shit about Amazon while we plug them, but just wondering out loud.
I think, didn't they say that depending on what state you're in, or depending on how much they have of an item that you ordered, if it's not considered an emergency or essential item, then they're not going to ship it Prime. They're just going to ship it the standard one.
Absolutely. They've been pretty upfront about their shipping. It's definitely been affected. Look, I've had stuff shipped in the last month from all over the country and outside the country, from U.S. Postal Service, UPS, FedEx, and directly from Amazon. Every one of those has been fucked up in some way, where I can track it and just see it sit in a facility for 4 days for no reason. Other than they're just fucking swamped, and everything's swamped. So it's not Amazon, it's everything.
Gotcha. Well, when you're ordering your Amazon, click through the banner, ChristopherMedia.net. Help us out. And, ChristopherMedia.net, a place where you can listen to us, as well as Spotify, Spreaker.com, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, the iHeartRadio app. Just anywhere it gets a podcast. That's where we're at. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See ya.
Later, guys.
Unregimented. ChristopherMedia.net.
You heard that safe drivers get rewarded with Snapshot from Progressive, so you went online to check it out. But then you saw an ad for a vintage baseball cap, and now you find yourself checking the stats of that team's second baseman in '97, wondering why his stolen base total dropped after his rookie season. Wonder how much his rookie card is worth. Yes, they said it was easy to save money with Snapshot from Progressive, but they forgot about the rest of the internet. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California, North Carolina, or from all agents.
There's a new Home Depot now open on Maurice Avenue in Masspeth. And as home improvement projects go, this is a big one. Use the product locator on our app for an in-store map to find what you need fast. And check out our new pickup lockers. They make online shopping a breeze. Of course, one thing's not new, our everyday low prices. The Home Depot, now open near Maurice Avenue and Long Island Expressway in Masspeth. And always open at HomeDepot.com. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
ChristopherMedia.net. If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for listening, and thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.